So on Friday night, we had a networking event that opened a new location for my co-working space in the city. I would go to the opening of an envelope. So I was there. I had a fantastic time. And it was interesting that I, 4 margaritas deep, was telling people about my new business that I was starting, and I was giving them the ins and the outs. And if you were like, what is it? You are just going to have to be patient. And it was interesting that I was met with advice and feedback that I absolutely did not ask for. And the interesting thing that people do where they will project their own ceiling onto you. And I was met with comments where it's like, I don't really know how you're going to monetize that. That's going to be tricky. How are you going to build an audience? What's it going to look like with this? I don't really know how this is going to be received if you use this word. And it was really interesting that, I would say since telling people about this new business, it's been really 50-50 split. It's been 50% of people who are like, I love it, it's fantastic. And then the other 50% have not, like, they cannot hide the fact that they just don't like this idea. I don't know about you, but there has been a chance with what you are doing now that you have been met with that same kind of like advice from well-meaning people that want to just like give you their 2 cents on what they're doing. It's like you're doing something and they just want to add their little fucking footnote. And I am transported all the way back to 2007, 2008, when I was telling people that I wanted to become a Pilates instructor and I wanted to take over the world teaching Pilates and create a DVD and open a studio. And let me tell you that people thought that I was an idiot. They told me that I should have gone to university, that I had amazing results, that I should study law or get like a really good, respectable job and have like a really great career. And I remember being young, like I was like 18, 19. And I was so adamant that this is what I wanted to do. I was like, I want to change and impact the lives of everyone with Pilates. It's changed my life. I love it. And the world needs to know about Joseph's work. When I was going to like these stuffy networking events that my dad dragged me to, so these like B&I breakfasts, I would meet these like businessmen in like navy suits. They would be like, what do you do? And I said, oh, I've opened the Pilates studio. And they'd be like, oh, Greg, come and talk to this chick. I think she does something like physical culture. And they would be like eating their little breakfast muffins, like looking me up and down, being like, do you wear like leotards or something? And like no one took me seriously. I look back to who I was back then and how I just didn't fucking care. I was like, this person, what a dense fuck they are, basically. I'm just going to keep doing my thing and I don't care. And it was interesting that, through, I think, continually defending what I was doing, it strengthened my own belief and conviction in the decision that I made and the life that I wanted to have. And it's so wild that I opened my business in 2009. I sold it in 2017. I have had so many people, when I shared this online on Instagram last night, the amount of people that were like, I found out about Pilates from you and now everyone does it. And it's wild that I could look back to a point in time where everyone told me that I was mad that I wanted to open a studio and devote my life to this, and how now you talk to anyone and like everyone goes to Pilates. Everyone has a studio. And it got me thinking about the business that I have now and the idea that I have now. And the fact that when you have an idea or something that you want to do, the reason that people do not understand it is because the vision has dropped into you, because you are the person that is meant to execute this vision. If other people can't see it, it's because you have to go first and you have to make it exist and you have to make it happen. And if other people don't get it, that's fine. But you have to be the driver of this. And I think that for those people that want to have a business that is a legacy business, like you want to look back on your entrepreneurial timeline and be like, I started a movement. And I'm obviously not taking credit at all for the fact that, I learned from a long, incredible lineage of people. Like I had my teachers and mentors, but I want to look back on what I've done, and I want people to look back on what I've done. Say to me, I feel that my life is different from this thing that you taught me. And I don't want to have a business where I'm like following other people. I want to follow my vision that drops in, and maybe you're the same as well. And I think reflecting back on my Pilates situation is that people are always going to be projecting their own ceiling onto you. Everyone has a ceiling. I have a ceiling. Anyone that has the most abundant, limitless mindset will still have some kind of ceiling where it's like, I believe that this is possible based on what I know to be true. When you come in and you disrupt that is really unsettling for their ceiling, because all of a sudden they're like, hold on, what do you mean? this doesn't exist because they can't see beyond that. That is their ceiling. And when you come in and you are super visionary, you know how things are going to look, that can be really quite agitating and unsettling for people that only know certain things to be true or potentially have tried something in the past and it hasn't worked for them. I have to check myself because the amount of times that I will be like, why is this person attacking me? And it's like, they are not attacking me. They are attacking the thoughts that I bring up and the beliefs that I bring up and question for them. Like, they have to then have this conversation with themselves where it's like, I can't believe that she thinks that she's going to make this work because I've tried this. And it's like, well, my story is not your story and I could make this work. And for me, what I do in situations like this is I will always look to examples of what is possible of people who have done this before instead of looking at where this hasn't worked in the past. Now, where this can be different, if it is something that people just cannot comprehend. So Give Good Email is an example of this. When I told people how I wanted this to look, that I didn't want to create 15 different email courses, that I wanted it to be like a choose your own adventure, self-study program, people were like, this isn't going to work. And this for me was so much around holding my own conviction and staying strong and knowing that one day people would have to eat their own words with the results that I got. I was very much fueled by spite. I was very much fueled that I knew this could work. When we think about it, how many people fucking hate themselves? It's like, do you really think that they're going to give you advice to make your life better? They can't even make their own life better. So this is where we have to get really clear on the validation trap and how we have to make sure that we are not allowing our business or the thing that we want to do to be driven by the validation from people that may not come. Because quite often, the validation and the claps will come after you have done the thing and after you have already won. And then all of a sudden, people come out of the woodwork and they're like, I knew that you'd make this work. You're so inspirational. I believe in you. Or who knows, maybe you will never get it. This is where you have to so much trust yourself and trust your, I'm going to call it like your little internal compass that is pointing you in a particular direction. And why so much of the conversations that we have had recently have been around making decisions and how you have to be okay with a decision, how you have to be okay with it potentially feeling like that it was a wrong decision, because business is so much about who you are and who you become in the process. And I think this is where, for me, even if I do this thing and it doesn't work out, that's okay. It's like too soon to call that something hasn't been successful because we never know how life is going to pan out. And we never know that if we do something and it doesn't work out to the expectation that we want, that in 6 or 12 months' time, we don't have a random company come out of the woodwork to hire us because they experienced the thing and they were like, this was so life-changing. I wish we could have done this sooner, but we've only got funding now. I wish I could have worked with you sooner, but I've only been able to do this now. Or I want to hire you to consult because I absolutely loved what you did with that. And I think the thing is, we can never call a decision as being good or bad because we really don't know how life is going to pan out. Therefore, we don't know at the time if the decisions that we're making are great. We just need to keep moving forward. So this is where, if you are someone that does feel like that you are a tastemaker, a trendsetter, you are a visionary, people are not going to get what it is until it is done. They will not understand it and they will throw every single excuse as to why this can't work because of their own limitations. And a great example of this is Hailey Baldwin recently sold her company for $1 billion. We come back to when Hailey started this and look at the criticism and the feedback that she got. People that were like, why is she doing this? Oh my gosh, it's going to be terrible. Like, what an oversaturated industry. And now she's fucking laughing all the way to the bank because she made a decision and she followed that. And it's like, look at all the people now that are like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of her. That probably were the people that were throwing shade or questioning if she could do this in the first place. So not everyone has to get it. The only person that has to get it is you, because the only person that is going to drive the business forward and drive the project forward, especially in the moments when no one is watching and no one is clapping, is you. You are the only person that has to fucking get it. So what you can do here is a simple reframe, is to get really clear on potentially where you are wanting validation from other people. Something that I've done before is I have looked at areas and compare myself where other people are usually met with a lot of praise. So I will look at podcast reviews, podcasts like ratings and written reviews. I'll look at Google reviews and I will be like, are they better than me? Why do they have this? And what I have to tell myself is, it's like, people are just so stunned with the work that you do that they have fainted, or they are so busy implementing the thing that you've taught them, they will catch up with a review. Or you don't know people that haven't reviewed, but are your biggest advocates behind the scenes. So just forget about them for a second. Stop putting your attention on them and put your attention back on yourself. And it's like, if we don't have that external validation, what does it look like to have this internal validation? And this is where, for me, I get that internal validation because I keep a promise to myself. I set out for a goal, and what I do is I don't make winning the metric that I'm aiming for. I make the action the metric that I'm aiming for, because I know that if I have a really good plan and I'm doing all of the right steps, then it's only a matter of time before this happens. What I also do is I do work that I feel deeply satisfied and I feel deeply proud of. So when I feel that level of satisfaction, I know that I'm doing a good job. So when I look at this new business that I'm going to create, I ask myself, what do I think is good work? How do I know that this is going to be good? How do I feel deeply lit up and satisfied by this? And even if other people don't get it, I know so much about business where people will buy in purely on your energy, because when you are in alignment, when you feel like that you are just radiating this magnetic energy, that fucking sells. You think about it, the amount of times that you will have really good things happen to you because you're in a good mood. I remember once I went into IGA and I was like giggling and laughing and I was super happy. They were like, why, are you okay? And I'm like, I'm having the best day ever. And they're like, why? And I said, because my birthday, I'm having the best day ever. And I was so happy. And I had like a handful of groceries and like, just take them. And I'm like, what? And they're like, just take them. And it was the owner of the business. And he was like, just take it. The amount of times that I have fun and I'm playful and I end up having a better day because I am in this alignment. People want to buy into that. That is magnetic. That is something that they want to be around. So what you will find is, even if people are questioning what you're doing and they don't get it, the more that you can stay in this energy and that you stay in this power of, this is what I'm doing, this is the movement, I'm here to change the world, this is going to be fantastic. Stay in that energy, because the people that will be your early adopters, that will be your ride or die fans, they will buy into that. And it is up to you to keep going and maintaining that energy, and these people will find you. And you will get to a point where these people will crowd out all of the negative feedback or criticism or unhelpful advice that you are getting. They will crowd it out that you just won't even know, because all of a sudden you are met with the praise and the feedback and then the validation of, this is the thing, and then you'll fucking win. And all of the people that have said, what are you doing? This it's such a bad idea. Like, I just don't know how it's going to work. Like, where are the clients going to come from? How are you going to just shut the fuck up, right? It's like, because you're going to win. You are going to win. I 100% know that. Don't wait for people to see your vision. You see your vision. That is the most important thing that counts. Don't wait for people to clap for you to make your next move. You fucking clap for yourself. You be your biggest advocate. And at the end of the day, the most important thing is that when you put your head on your pillow to go to sleep at night, is that you are so deeply satisfied with the work that you are doing and how you are doing it and how you are showing up and your growth. That is the number one most important thing, is that you within yourself have that deep sense of satisfaction. Oh, hot stuff. I love this. I love you. I love you more than the fact that I am going hard in June. I'm going hard. We are habit stacking the misery, and I'm doing all of the things that I said that I was going to do, and then I'm just going to do them. And I've made a list of these 5 different areas in my life that I want to focus on. I just want to get some change, and I want dramatic results in a really short space of time. So this isn't about doing something that is going to be really lasting moving forward, but it is about getting a lot of change now, so then I can get that willpower to keep me moving forward. I want to be a different person on June 30th. So that's that. So I love you more than that. I love you more than the random chats that I have with people at work that really deeply respect what I do, and they will share feedback in a way where they'll actually ask, they'll be like, are you open to, I've got an idea of how this could look. And they phrase it in a way that, what I love is, it doesn't minimize what I'm doing, but it takes what I'm doing and it makes it greater. And I just had this conversation with someone earlier, and it's interesting. I've actually thought for a while about pulling out Give Good Email and making that a standalone business. So nothing would change, but Give Good Email would be its own independent brand with a consulting arm. So it's we'd have Professional Babe, and then we'd have Give Good Email, and then I'd have my new business. So then I would have 3, and then hopefully one day the podcast. It was interesting having this conversation and having someone that deeply respects what I do, this isn't everyone, but I think when you are a woman in business, there are times when people just want to minimize what you do because it may feel flashy or they just don't see the vision, which is why I'm so big on you babes ensuring that you see it within yourself. But it was nice to have a conversation of someone that also sees that this could be so much bigger than what it is. And it was wonderful to have that recognition. I have that in myself, but when your peers do that, that's also fantastic. So I love you more than that. I love you more than my little Chemist Warehouse haul. I bought a haul. What do we have? Now, I know on the podcast before we've had some Chemist Warehouse. I don't want to say hate, but that place makes me anxious. The aisles are too close and there's so many stickers and the lighting is just a little bit too harsh and there's lots of people and I can't chill. But they've opened one new work because while I can still do my own pedicure and, basically like put my legs around my head and scratch my face with my toes, I'm going to paint my toenails. And I bought some new nail polish and these were on sale. These were $6.97. Revlon Ultra HD Snap One Coat Clean Vegan Nail Polish. Yeah, so I bought that. There we go. Made without many controversial ingredients found in other nail enamels. There we go. We love it. So I've got this purple plummy burgundy color and this like sexy little red, which we love that. So I bought that. I bought some different products. I actually put a haul on TikTok. So if you're not following me on TikTok, come and find me on TikTok because I love that platform. I want to do more on there. So I love you more than that. And I'm going to have a quick little break. I'm going to go and have a little cheeky a decaf double espresso. And I love you more than how good that coffee is going to taste when that first little sip hits my tongue and it dances round my mouth and it goes down my throat. And then it sends those little signals up to my brain and it's like, yes, bitch, let's record episode 2. So hot stuff. I'm going to go. I'm going to have a quick little coffee break and then I'm going to come back and record your next podcast episode. So I love this. I love you. And I'll see you on the next one. Mwah.